times are flying by. So we've decided to review the Flywoo FlyTimes 85. Will it take us back to 1985 or will it bring us forward to 2085? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to review it. Let's go. Flywoo offer the FlyTimes in 3 different versions. You've got the 03 Lite at 72 grams, you've got the 04 Pro at 79 grams, and you've got the 04 Standard at 58 grams. Now, full disclosure before we go into this review, this is a build done by me using the FlyTimes frame. I've used the Flywoo motors, so they're the same. I have used a slightly different flight controller, which is actually slightly lighter than the Flywoo one. And I've used an 04 Lite as well to really keep the weight down and just see how well this actually flies. Does it fly in the times of now really well or not? So we've got the Flywoo Robo 10003 motors, and I've actually put tri-blades on those. They do come from Flywoo with bi-blades, and something I'm just completely against in this size of quad personally. You get a TPU propeller guard. In my frame kit, I got a purple one and a black one. Now, this is great, and it's a way of guarding the propellers without necessarily having full-on ducts, but it still does affect the flight performance slightly. Nowhere near as much as you would expect from a ducted quad, of course. The issue I've got with this is most of the material put out there by Flywoo and most of the bind and flies by Flywoo all have an LED strip on them. And the problem with having an LED strip and this TPU is you can't see one or the other. So you've got a lovely purple, which I think looks really nice, but then it's hidden with the LED strip, which I think looks even nicer. So difficult one. I don't know where else they could have put it. The answer is probably nowhere. So it's just something that we're going to have to live with. You either have the LED strip and you can't quite see the TPU, or you have the TPU and you don't have the LED strip. It's a compromise that you've got to make, and that's just the way it is. Speaking of compromises, another issue I have with this is what Flywoo call the new lock battery compartment. Flywoo, if you're listening, and I don't know if you are, but if you are, give us a battery strap for the love of God. When the Fly lens came out, it had this stupid battery lock system. So if you want to change batteries and you're out, so let's give you an ideal scenario. It's a public holiday weekend and you take your family and your kids out to the beach and you throw into your bag the FlyTimes or the Fly lens. And you've got in your bag a 550 mAh, a 660 mAh, and a 750 mAh, and even a 1000 mAh battery. And you forget that you need to pick up another 3 3D prints and throw them in your bag as well. And you've just got the one that's currently attached to the drone. You arrive at the beach and you've only got whatever size is available to you there. I don't understand why Flywoo have done this. It's something that baffles me to this day. Flywoo, please, if you are listening, and I am going to send them a copy of this. This is not in conjunction with Flywoo at all, but I will send them a copy. I don't know if they'll listen to me. I'm only a small YouTuber at the end of the day, but please do away with these battery straps. They are annoying. They are frustrating. And I just give us a battery strap, please. Machine your frames in a way that you can put a battery strap in, and honestly, like, the level of stress from me will be gone. That's me on my soapbox. Now I'm going to get off my soapbox and let's have a look at some of the other spec that you would get from a bind and fly. So they use the 2S HD Micro AIO. I do have one of these in another build, so I can vouch for the fact that it is a really, really good AIO. It is a F405. It's 03 plug and play, which means 04 plug and play as well. It's got an integrated serial ELRS receiver built into the board, 6 UARTs. It's got a 9-volt 2-amp BEC and an 8 meg black box, as well as a barometer. It's a really, really, really feature-rich, small 2S all-in-one flight controller. I've got it in another build, and I really do like it. Flywoo list downward VTX for great heat dissipation. I'm going to come on to this in my summing up at the end. I do have something to say about this. That's all I'm going to say. Lightweight design, innovative Y-shaped aluminum alloy brackets and TPU propeller guards. Lightweight protective propellers, eliminating propeller wash. Well, I'm sure it probably does eliminate propeller wash in comparison to a fully ducted FPV drone. That said, you're always going to get propeller wash if you fly into your own wash. You're never going to eliminate it. You can tune some of it out, but ultimately you have to learn how to not fly into your own wash. So you've got an 04 Pro Ultra shock absorbing gimbal. I actually used the Beta FPV adapter that they gave me with the Femto. So they gave me a few extras with the Femto. So I actually used that to put onto this just to see if we can really like take away all those vibrations. The answer is by using them both together, we didn't, just so you know. And I don't necessarily think that's a quad, to be honest. I think we probably could have done with a little bit more mounting, shall we say. And yeah, I mean that's it really. It comes in all those different varieties. It does look futuristic. It looks a little bit like Skeletor. It's super light. It should be super fun, but I was really frustrated with the Fly Lens 85 when it came out last year. So my initial flight, I mean, I actually put a video up, which is probably why Flywoo don't work with me anymore, saying this is not what the influencers promised. Because at the time, every influencer out there, not myself, was saying this is amazing, this is the best thing ever. I was really struggling with mine. Then I updated Betafly. I got the larger batteries. Flywoo actually said to me, oh no, the issue you're having is because it's an LIHV and you're not charging it fully. The batteries never said that on them. So by the time I'd done all the upgrades to the Fly Lens, at the time it was a brilliant quad because it was one of the first 2S's carrying an 03. Really, really fun little quad. But it was frustrating at the start. So I'm hoping that this is a lot more of a refined product and it offers what I was hoping the Fly Lens was originally going to offer way back in the day. Almost a year to the day since I started doing these semi-seriously. So let's move on. So we've got a little bit of vibration in the camera, but actually this flies so well. It flies very much like a toothpick. Like I say, we've got quite a headwind here, so it is causing, as you can imagine, a little bit of vibration in the camera. Now obviously when you free fall with ducks like this, you are going to get a little bit of your washout, but overall I'm quite impressed. And we can even do a power leap again. Look, I'm not going to do it over the tree this time just because the wind seems to have picked up from the first flight. Now then, I've been having conversations over the weekend with people about how we can improve the channel. Now one thing people want to know is their investment into drones, quite a lot of money quite often, and how long are they going to last for. So we've decided from now on we are going to disarm every single drone that we test from about 10 or 20 foot up in the air and just see if anything breaks. Now I'm going to suggest that 99.9% of drones will suffer zero damage from such a fall onto grass. However, if any do, at least you know they are the super fragile ones. Now we are using the 04 Lite, which is obviously known to be a little bit fragile itself. Like your washout is a bit of a pain, but you're probably not supposed to fly this quite like this. But actually I'm quite enjoying it. This is actually quite a fun little quad and it feels so light on its toes. It surprised me. This wind is absolutely crazy. Okay, so we're going to come back now and we're going to do the crash test. So we are going to go up to about 20 foot and we're going to disarm the quad and we're going to see exactly what damage we cause. And here's a disarm coming.
Get ready to start.
So this is the crash site of the Flywoo FlyTimes 85. Boy Wonder, can you pick up the drone and we will do an inspection. So if you hold up to the camera, So the props are okay, the frame's okay, the camera's not come out of the mount, the battery's not shifted. Well, I'll give that one a pass. Moving on to our community spotlight, and I'm going to start with our incredible members: Silicam Photography, Club Alexandro, Boy Wonder FPV, Connor Clark, Christopher Cartwright, Peter Puff FPV, Scottish Island 420, Jamie Primnett, Reindeer, Hans Solo, Doper FPV, Shaky FPV 21, Mark Duplex, Harry M Photography, JR FPV, James III, Phil Anderson, Not Here, Oinks FPV, Only Drones, and Barry Morgan. It costs just $1.99 a month to join them, and you'll get your name shouted out in every one of these videos, and it helps the channel buy things that we can't necessarily afford on ourselves, because so far not every manufacturer wants to work with us. It would be really helpful if you could join. If you don't want to, or haven't earned it from you yet, or you don't want to, just hit that notification bell to make sure you do get notified every time we upload a new video. Now, moving on to the featured comments this week. Mark says, Meteor 75 Pro or Mobular 704. My Mobular 704 should arrive this week, and if it does, I will get a review out on the channel to you guys to let you know which one I think. I've been asked this question 100 times since I've done the Meteor 75 review, so thank you, Mark, for raising that. Instantly FPV says, I can't wait for mine. I keep searching Meteor 75 Pro 04 every few hours to help with my depression, and I wanted to raise something as a man, as a guy, as a bloke, call it whatever you may. We don't talk about our feelings enough. So I extended my thoughts and feelings out to Lee and said, if you're ever struggling, please jump on the Discord and drop me a DM there. I'm always here to help. I'm somebody that suffered immensely with depression and PTSD myself, so I know exactly how dark that road can be. If anybody else is suffering, please, the Discord link is down below. Reach out for help. And Sebastian said, hi, I'm a newbie. Is it possible to buy the Meteor and then switch the 04 to a femto frame? Absolutely. If you watch the femto review that I've done, I didn't have an 04 in it when it arrived, so I had to put my own in. Dead simple, straightforward. A little bit fiddly at times, but I just follow the video that I've done, and it's really, really easy. And that's the end of the community spotlight. If you want to get featured in the next video, all you need to do is leave a comment on this video down below. Make it funny, make it good, make it bad. I don't care, but just make it stand out. Make it stand out, and I'll select it for the next video, and you'll get a free shout out in that one. Right, let's find out. Should we buy this FlyTimes or not? So, as always, on these reviews, we come to the final question. That is, do I think that you should buy it or not? And this video has been a lot shorter than most of the ones that I've been putting out there recently for a few quite simple reasons. Ultimately, I didn't get the full quad. What I received was a frame kit, and I built my own using the Flywoo motors, but a different flight controller. That flight controller is not as good as the flight controller from Flywoo. The Flywoo one is much, much better and more feature rich. So I didn't feel that I wanted to go into massive detail about certain things because I was using slightly different equipment than what you would receive in a bind and fly. That said, I had so much fun with this drone. It absolutely blew me away. I genuinely didn't think, after the issues I had with the fly lens, that I'd be recommending this. But I've got somebody on my Discord that keeps saying, should I buy the HGLRC Drachnite or the YMZ FPV Lightning, or should I buy a Mobular or something like that? And I think this is the best of both worlds when it comes to newbies. So it's only 2S, but at times when you look at some of the flight footage that I've uploaded, it does fly a little bit like you would expect a toothpick to fly. And to me, that's quite extraordinary. You do get a little bit of yaw washout with it because it has not ducts, but it obviously the airflow is sort of restricted by the LEDs or the TPU and the design of the frame. So there is that, which is a bit of an issue. But ultimately, if you're not flying it as hard as I was, and most newbies won't be, that shouldn't be a massive issue. The only thing I'm a little bit reluctant to recommend it to newbies for is the 04 or 03 is underneath, and you're going to be landing on that every single time. Things like the ITZY Evo has the 04 or 03 and the battery on top of the quad. So you're landing on the frame. Now, if you're a newbie who's practicing over grass, that's probably not going to be a massive issue unless it's grass that's completely sort of waterlogged and soaked. And you're going to, my point being, I don't like quads where newbies are expected to do the most difficult phase of flight, the landing, on the most expensive component. And it does make me a little bit reluctant to recommend it for that reason. But that said, if we look at the Draknite, you're landing on the battery on the Draknite. So that's all potentially going to cause an issue if you're a newbie and you land on that too hard. Probably not as much as if you broke an 04 by landing on it too hard. I think with that in mind, it is probably still a quad I'm going to recommend to newbies, but I think what I'd probably say to them is, until you're comfortable in your landing phase, perhaps switch to angle mode as you land. And then you've just got one thing to have to worry about, and that's just controlling your throttle as you're lowering it down, almost like a Mavic would do. So you come in, you hit angle mode once you're in position, and then you just lower the throttle just to slowly bring it down until it touches down. It's not massively fragile in the cage that they put it in, but a few hard hits and it's going to be a bit of a problem. So I'm not going to say that I'm not going to recommend it. I absolutely am going to recommend it. It flies really well. It's super light. It's super fun. And that's what we're in this hobby for, isn't it? Sometimes we sort of forget that, but we're here to have fun. And it put a smile on my face. And I've flown hundreds of quads for years, and this still put a smile on my face. And that, I think, says quite a lot. I think it really, really does speak volumes about what Flywoo have done with this. So I will leave a link in the description down below. I'll also leave the Discord, etc. If you want to get involved with the community spotlight for the next video, which should hopefully be out in a few days, leave a really good comment down here and I'll select 3, relatively at random, but 3 that sort of jump off the page to me as much as possible, and I'll feature you guys. And again, if you can join and be a member, that'd be appreciated as well. We are closing in on 30,000 subscribers at a stupidly fast pace, and I cannot thank you all enough. Some of the comments I've had this weekend have been absolutely astounding. People calling me the British Bardwell. People saying that, you know, I'm genuine and honest, and that's difficult to find these days. That's why I started this channel, or that's why I started doing reviews on this channel, should I say. Because I'd been burnt by other people recommending quads that were not fit for purpose. And I wanted to be different. And sure, that might mean that some manufacturers don't want to work with us and we're going to have to do it ourselves. We'll do it ourselves. It doesn't matter. With your help, we can do anything, can't we? So I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And let's not forget, from now on, starting with the Flywoo, we will crash test every new FPV drone that we are either sent or that we buy ourselves, to make sure that your money is going to something that isn't going to break easily. None of these quads, no FPV drone in 2025 should be damaged from a fall from 20 foot up in the sky. Any that do get damaged have got a serious problem. So I don't expect to see any damaged, but if we do, then I think that alone would be enough reason for me not to recommend it. But the Flywoo survived it. There was no damage on it at all, and it is a quad that I am going to recommend, especially to newbies. But just keep in mind, your landing phase, perhaps use angle mode. Speaking of modes, check this video in the end screen now for a mode to save you from crashing your FPV drone.